Hello everybody, it's your girl Feet and welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, I need you guys to go check out the links in my bio. There are current genocides going on, whether it's Congo, Sudan, and Palestine. It's our job to acknowledge it and take action, collective action to help support those in need. There are links in my bio to help out families in need to get to a safer space, whether that's medical supplies, money to get over the border. We cannot ignore the pain and suffering happening before us, so please take a look at that. Donate and support. With that being said, let's get into the video. Okay y'all, so today I want to do a full face of makeup breaking down this look I did on my Instagram. Y'all check it out. If y'all don't follow me on Instagram, RejuvenateDr by Feet, go check it out. I created this look using the Danessa Myricks new palette. People love it. I do a lot of fun different looks, but I got a lot of positive feedback on this look, so I decided let's make a YouTube video. So if you guys want to see how I got this look, then please keep watching. I have like red patches all over my face right now. I put some of this Dr. Dennis Gross lip plump, and I know this stuff is intense, but I didn't realize it smudged across my face. So, I'm just having a bad skin week. I'm also having hives all over my arm. It is what it is. I'm gonna put a little bit of the Drunk Elephant Bee Hydra Serum, something to cool down the skin. I do want to add in a primer. We're gonna be going in with the Danessa Myricks Main Squeeze Primer, and this is the Juice Boost. For today's look, I don't want to go matte nor too dewy. I've been liking a fuller brow moment, and I've been really liking the feathered brow. How I get that is using the Anastasia Brow Freeze. Anastasia might have changed their formula from when they first launched it, because everyone was saying, and I saw it myself, how it got white if it was exposed to air for too long. But I've been really diligent about keeping my lid on, and then I feel like it doesn't turn white the way it once did. So that and Patrick Ta, like the Patrick Ta wax, are the only two things I like for my laminated brows. At the moment, I've used other things and I just didn't like it too much. And so I take my spoolie and I brush it back. Direction of my hair, look at the feather. And then I like to take my spoolie and just kind of shape the top part of our brow. Gives it a really nice sharp shape. And you can take like a flat brush and just roll on top of that brow. Both brows are done. Since my brows have been growing in thicker than what they normally are, I normally go to my dip brow, but right now I'm using my medium brow powder from the Anastasia, and I'm just taking an angled brush and going lightly over. I'm not looking necessarily for like full thick hairs. I'm looking for just to fill in the holes. This is one of my favorite palettes. I got it, thank you Makeup Forever, and it's kind of been sitting around collecting dust because I'm like, what on earth am I gonna do with this? And it's my new favorite obsession. So what I'm gonna do is carve my brow out. I'm using my P. Louise flat brush, and I like to mix these two shades together. It's an artist palette. That's what I like about it. You really just get to play with color and see what works for you, but everything's so blendable. So there's like no right or wrong when it comes to it. You can always adjust. Start by just carving or shaping the underside of the brow. Being at that under highlight gives the illusion of a clean brow. We got both sides on. Yeah, it looks a little funky, but that's a part of the process. Then I'm gonna take the two darkest colors and mix those together. That's gonna be used on the top part of my brow. That way we avoid getting too much of a halo brow when you carve it out and it's like bright all around. Oh, we learn as we go, don't we? So we're just going around our edges. So it just gives it a neater look. And I'm taking the Huda Beauty concealer and face brush, and I'm just gonna tap it in. Oh, my skin is like on fire. It's like itchy everywhere. What is going on? So for foundation, I'm going to be using the Haus Labs in the shade 330 Medium Cool. I love this for like a natural skin-like finish, but you still want like something on your face. Start off with the Sephora Collection number 47 brush, and then I like to sponge it out at the end. I mean, it really just depends on the formula of the foundation and what look I'm going for. Because this foundation has 20 plus skincare ingredients in it, a sponge will eat that up in a second. Do my brush, make sure my skin's getting that skincare, and then I'll sponge it out later on. And then just a little on the forehead. I'm gonna sponge out the foundation, especially like more on the edges from the formula. Today for concealer, I'm gonna be doing 2 combos I like. I'm gonna be putting some of the Pat McGrath, it's in the shade M17 with the Kofi Beauty. It's Mita Soul. It's a lighter color for my bright under eyes. The Pat McGrath one is like a glue for your concealer. It's crazy. It just sticks right on. The areas I like to put my concealer, which is the T-zone. The shade, I wish I had gotten a little lighter of the Pat McGrath, but it is what it is. And I'm gonna put the Kofi Beauty right on top of that. I like to have them marinate together. You can blend them out in layers. We're gonna let that sit on the skin and go into our bronzer slash contour. I'm gonna be using this skin enhancing serum from Rose Inc. It's in the shade 110, and I was just playing with this the other day and I was like, wow, this like looks so natural when you put it on the skin as a bronzer. I'm gonna start by putting it. You put your bronzer and contour wherever you have an edge on the face. It's like the rule of 3, right? So we're painting our face. We gotta add, once you put a foundational base, you gotta have barriers. You see how pretty that is? Like, that just looks so effortlessly like bronze and airbrush. Like, the bronzers sometimes come out, I don't like when they're like too pigmented and you're really blending and then it has like too much of a gray cast to it. I guess that's what a contour would be, but I still don't like my contours being gray. I like them having still a little warmth. And I'm taking this Morphe brush. It's from one of their sets. It's a tapered off brush, and I use that to just tap in. The thing about doing makeup is seeing when it starts to work. When I was really young and I would do my makeup, I never had like anything that matched my skin. I didn't really know what I was doing. Yes, I watched YouTube, but it was like you watch a video but then you do it on yourself when you have different tools and stuff, and it just was not the same. So now as I've gotten older and I know what I'm doing now, it's like more rewarding. I feel like all that effort and the best paid off. The little girl in me is like, yes, that's tiara. And this is where I really like to emphasize it on the forehead. I'm like, bronze him that forehead up. Now I'm gonna blend out the concealer. And then I can even take whatever's left just underneath the bronzer, just so we have like a more chiseled look. Oh, you know what I did not do? Before I finish blending under the eye, I do want to take a little more of the Rose Inc serum and use that on my nose. I've been getting more into nose contour. Not necessarily, and I'm not changing the shape of my nose, I'm just adding, once again, the border to it because the foundation and concealer wash out. So I don't want this part of my face to look flat. Connect everything back together again. And we're gonna blend out this concealer. Just a lot of tapping. And I just like to hug my cheekbone up top here. Wherever we put that highlighter, just bring it all the way back to the edges. We're just really focusing the concealer in the center here. And then to make these two blend, I'll take that bronzer brush and just slightly tap those edges so they all blend into one unison layer. Blush today, Magenta Magic from Nude Sticks. And we're just following our cheekbone between our concealer and our bronzer is where we're gonna focus that. Pretty and pink. A little on the nose, on the forehead, and the chin. I feel like I want my under eye a little brighter, so I'm gonna do just a little more concealer. Assess as you go. Like, you look at it and you're like, let's add more of this. I'm gonna do 2 powders to set my makeup. The first powder we're using is the Pat McGrath. It's the yellow tone in the under eye powder. And I just like to set it first with some kind of pressed powder, and I like how thin this one is. So when I put a baking powder on top, it doesn't get too thick. You could also get away with just doing this for like a more natural makeup. You don't want to look powdered up. I'm taking the Cherry Blossom and the Huda Beauty powder on a powder puff, and I'm going to kind of tap it into the pan and then just push that in the T-zone area primarily, like that, and I'm just going to have it sit. Nose, you can do that exclamation point, and then underneath the bronzer and blush. Okay. We're gonna let this sit and go into our eyeshadow. I feel like with the Dannessa palette, you don't necessarily need a primer because you're working with cream and powder. correct me if I'm wrong, I do want to start with just like a white eyeshadow to set my lid. And I'm using the Patrick Ta, the Major 3 Dimension. Well, pack it all over the lid. Like, have fun with it. So, we got the star of the show here. Oh, turn that off. She's not a star, she's dirty. And there she is, as you can see. We used her a bit. Let's get started. For this look, I did use an angled brush to sketch out our cut crease, but we start with our creams. It smells so good. So we get cream and powder, but I always start with the cream or a pomade first. We're gonna start with this Bliss shade here, which is this really pretty burgundy color. When you feel your eye, you can feel you have that brow bone right there, and it goes up. So whenever I create some kind of cut crease, I follow that feeling. Just switch out our memory card, ran out of a little space. Now start to add some dimension. I'm gonna go in with this darker shade, Evermore, and we're just doing the same exact thing. And this is where the magic happens. When you see those two colors diffuse into each other, that's when you start to see that gradient. Let's go in with a little bit XOXO, this darkest shade here, and we're just gonna really focus that on the deepest part, which is right here. Final layer of depth. Focus that darkest color right on the bottom, and when you blend it ever so lightly, because we don't want to take the color too high up. We still want our layers of gradient, but I also don't want to see where our lines start and end. I'm gonna take that number 19 brush, and we're gonna take the shade Crush, which is that lightest pink, but this time we're taking that powder color here. And I'm gonna use this in the brow bone down to diffuse our gradient. And I'm gonna take the powder version of Bliss and go right on top of that. You can use powders to reinforce the pomade, but the pomade really does the magic. And then we're doing Evermore powder. Going back in with a little bit of our best friend here in our flat brush. This part's optional, but I'm gonna do this today because I want a more sharper crease and just sharpen our edge there, so it looks more defined. And then you can take that same 19 brush, blend that out, and we're gonna take the Crush, which is that light pink shade, and I'm putting that all over my lid. Because Dannessa's palette doesn't come with that really pigmented white, it's a pink, we're gonna take the lightest white color from the Patrick Ta palette and just focus that right on the, not the inner corner, but before the inner corner. And this is giving my eye a little bit of highlight and dimension on where our lid is. And take a little bit of Crush and blend that on the sides of it. I'm taking the XO, which is that darkest pomade, and we're just gonna start mapping out the wing with the same angled brush by brushing down. And then looking out, I can see where the angle of the outer corner of my eye is, so I like to go along with this. We're just gonna kind of elongate that wing like that. So then I'm gonna kind of diffuse it out with the Bliss shade, and then taking our 19 brush and the Crush, we're just gonna diffuse the Bliss pomade with that. And then one more time with that XO color. You can take this even onto your waterline, on your top waterline, just like that. See the difference in like even the lash band from the side? Wow. Y'all, we look so professional over here. So we're gonna take the Urban Decay Moon Dust palette, and I'm taking the Star Cowboy color, and we're gonna put that on top. Where we put that white color is where we're gonna focus that. I'm a sparkle girl. I always want to add a pop of something. You could keep this matte though. Curl these lashes. So I'm gonna take that XO darkest color, and we're gonna put it in our waterline. And we're gonna take the shade Bliss. We're gonna, once it's like the same steps we're doing everywhere, but we're just doing them in different sections. Never stop blending. Mascara I've been really liking is the One Size mascara. And I'm gonna be using these lashes more on the natural side. I glue these on, wait for them to get tacky. So let's wipe away our big with our fluffy brush. But I'm gonna add a little bit of a bronzer to my face, just in the powder bronzers, just to ensure we are getting like dimension with everything. the Dragon Fruit blush from Haus Labs. It's so pretty and pigmented. I guess for highlight today, we'll just use some Moon Dust because this is just a glitter, so you can use it anywhere. And I'm just gonna put that on the highs of our cheek. Cupid's bow, Cupid glow. For the finale, our lips, like make sure there's nothing on your lip. And for our combo today, I'm gonna be using some more of that. Let's start with that Bliss shade, and then I'm gonna add more color in. And then we're gonna take the Crush pomade. We're putting that in the center for our highlight. The one thing about this palette that blows my mind is how it works on the lips and the eyes. Okay, period. We're getting excited. I'm also running late, y'all. I'm getting ready for work. I'm gonna do a little dip brow with Ebony in the brows just to brush out any kind of fallout from powders we may have had and just like to make them stand out a bit more. We're gonna just spray us with some Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. And we are done. The full face, this is a little breakdown of what I use. I wanted to feature the Blooming Romance palette today because so many people were asking how I did my lip the other day, and I'm like, let me just make a little tutorial, why not? So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and until next time, let me know if you have questions down below. I love y'all.
I know you got all dressed up for